I'd like to get such an entrance every time I come to the office in the morning. That would be really cool. It sounds like that. First of all, I don't speak Hungarian, which might be surprising to some of you. But because of that, and because of it's the second half of the day, I will not speak about products. I will not speak about features. There will be nothing about any appliances or whatsoever. What I would like to speak about is intelligence and how intelligence can make our cybersecurity life more effective, and how sometimes non-technical information can help us. And then I'll have 5 minutes extra for you for something really interesting. So, has anyone read M-Trends report? The newest M-Trends? I know you have, Lucian, but... So M-Trends report is an annual white paper that we publish. It's based on the information gathered from incident response teams, Mandiant incident response teams from around the world. So they gather real data. Now, if you look at numbers, compromise to discovery time, that's 99 days medium. So that's over 3 months of attackers sitting in your network. For EMEA, that number is even worse. It's over 100 days. So it's 47 days less than in 2015 because the data was gathered in 2016, but it's still too much time. It takes a couple of minutes to exfiltrate your data. So there is room for improvement. Now, what's new? We see a heavy focus on email. So over 80% of targeted attacks start via email, and it includes your on-site email installation, but cloud as well, omitting two-factor authentication, you've heard about U.S. presidential election hack, about hacking of France election. So it's happening every day. And it's very, very difficult to protect against it because what we see is that attacks get more and more sophisticated and advanced. Previously, we would see that there is a big difference between nation-state hackers and just commercial hackers, if you will, in the level of how advanced they are. Now we don't see the difference. Now both use same very advanced tools. What's the problem? Whoever I talk with, I've had several meetings in Budapest yesterday, and it's not in Budapest, it's anywhere else in the world. You can't find security expertise. Either people are too expensive to hire, or if you want to train your own expert, you will train him and he'll leave. That's the problem everywhere, right? Then everyone wants to have a SOC. From what I got, the previous presentation was about Security Operations Center. Now, problem is very often you get overwhelmed by data. So you get this data, there might be information somewhere, but you don't know where it is. And how to find it? You're also fighting a very unfair battle because you have your limited resources on one side, and on the other side there's a nation-state-sponsored hacker who has limitless resources and time. And let's face it, breaches are inevitable. If someone wants to break into your network, he'll break into your network. It's just a matter of time. And I think modern tools are still focused on what? So what malware hit you? But why did it hit you? Who was behind it? What was the reason? What was the motivation? How serious it is? We're still missing that. There's still not enough context to that. So just a quick exercise. Does this number mean anything to you? We had a couple of ideas on previous presentations. Someone said it's a US number to call for an incident response. Don't call, it's not a number. Someone said it's number of unique malware samples. Does anyone have an idea what this might be? No one? Okay, how about now? It's an IP address, but even if IP address is on the blacklist for some reason from one of the vendors, we still don't know what to do with it. How serious? Why is it on the blacklist? If this IP is used by a command and control server, which manages some kind of a Trojan, again, what does this Trojan do and who's behind it? So we gather additional information. The Trojan uses the Adobe Reader exploit. it's attached, it's delivered in the form of a PDF file within an email. So that's suspicious, right? That shouldn't be happening. But again, what on severity level from 1 to 5, how severe is it? We don't know. Email subject won't give us much. But when we find out that it has rootkit capabilities and allows data exfiltration, that's when it starts to be more serious. Will it let you sleep at night? Probably it will, because you'll manage somehow. But North Korean cyber group, now that's where it gets interesting. And when you find out that the group is targeting government agencies or entities that work with government agencies to steal national secrets, and you're one of these agencies, or you cooperate with government entity, then you're responsible for it, right? So, and the last two lines are not, this is not technical information, but they help you make a right choice what to do with it. So that's what's called, in simplification, intelligence-led approach to security, which basically, I'm sorry I'm running through, but I want to give you as much information as possible. I added some bonus slides to this presentation, so I hope I can make it on time. So we need to find the reason. Is it just a spam campaign, just shooting whoever they can, but it's really just a noise in your network? Is it a data theft for national reasons, for national security reasons? Or to steal your trade secrets, your secret formulas? Imagine someone breaking in and steal Coca-Cola recipe, right? That would be interesting. Or is it just a cybercrime, just commercial hackers trying to steal credit card numbers? Maybe hacktivism, or maybe, we talk more and more about it, maybe it's OT security-related incident. Hackers can block your industrial control systems or do something with it. Now, we talk a lot about here during this conference about artificial intelligence, about the future of artificial intelligence, about connecting everything to internet. Wonder what implications it might cause in case of a targeted attack. So it is very important how to react to that, understand the reason, because only then you will be able to do the right thing, because there are different kind of operations you perform against spam and different kind against North Korean APT group. So intelligence-led security operations needs to be divided into 3 levels. The major level is tactical, then it's operational, and then it's strategic. What it means, tactical intelligence is really machine to machine, right? It's IP addresses, it's blacklists, it's domains which are blocked. There's not, everyone uses it. There's not much secret behind it. But then operational intelligence answers the question why things happen. So we look at tools, tactics, procedures. We're able to find out why things have happened. We're doing incident response. We're able to improve our security posture with that process. So we know if it's a single person or is it a coordinated group that attacks you. But that's better than just tactical, but we're not there yet. I think we need to complete the picture with strategic intelligence, which is really not only why someone attacked you, but who attacked you. So at FireEye, we do monitor a few hundreds of APT groups on a daily basis, and sometimes we're able to attribute an attack to a single person, to a single Chinese guy who lives in, I don't know, Shanghai or Beijing. And what it gives us, we know what he did in the past. We know how he stole data, why he stole that data, what he did with it. So we can be more effective in protecting, not against the Trojan that goes by the name ABCD, but that person. That's a big difference. A little thought example, imagine in your company you get an email from some domain. It's not blocked. Let's say it's not b.com, it's gmail.com. Does anyone block Gmail? I didn't think so. So this email contains a link to a website where you download an executable file. I hope this won't happen in your network, that you have it blocked. You don't allow to download executables. But if you do, and someone did, it downloads the file, and there is a malware inside. What does this malware do? It connects with command and control server, a very strange and funny name. We make it up, of course. Then it it copies the memory, exfiltrates data, connects to another domain for additional instructions, what to do next. Now, how serious is it? Based on it, it's pretty serious. Exfiltration of data is a serious thing. But why has this happened? We don't know. Now, this is the view from a single organization standpoint, right? Organization 1. Broadening the scope, we see that the same kind of or similar attack happened in 2 other organizations. If we look at the dates, as you see, but well, I can only do the laser thing on my side. That's not helpful. So we see that the attacks happened within 1 week. They used same exfiltration methods. It was the same malware family. By the way, this example is based on a real situation. We cannot give real names here, but it was based on a real situation. So looking at the fact that malware family was the same, exfiltration method was the same, the date was very similar, we can tell that it's probably something that's connected. But why is it connected? So attack number 1 was a telecom company. Attack number 2 was a financial institution. Attack number 3 was defense contractor. They don't seem to have much in common. So you might say, okay, it's just a coincidence, right? It just happened. You know, some hacker just found these companies and attacked them. While reading the newspaper, you can see that the defense contractor just signed, there's no Farlandian government, of course, but we had to put something here, just signed a contract to create a secret spy agency, well, some kind of defense contract. Now, telecom company was hired to provide a telco infrastructure for that deal. And that financial institution was part of the contract to provide financial capabilities to sponsor it. So when we reach out beyond the technical measures, we can see that most likely it's connected. Now, look at the date. It says February 16, 2019. We did a little time travel. And we look at the new timeline. First, there was an article. A week later, there was the first attack, and then everything happened. So most likely, it was a coordinated event. Now, here's the tricky part. We see that it's connected, and now we have to do the attribution. So we need to understand who it was. We need to categorize it, find out what they're after, identify risks, why, so we can assign this activity to a certain person or a group of people, right? To a threat group, we call. Because threat groups very often use the same set of tasks, TTPs, they target similar companies. And by what they leave behind, we were able to identify them. And it's very important that evidence must be beyond a reasonable doubt. So if anyone comes to us and asks why this attribution, we need to be able to prove beyond doubt that that's really that group. Has anyone read a FireEye report on hacking Bitcoin by North Korean hackers? Please take a look at it. It's really interesting because we point directly to North Korean APT group, which tries to collect money for Pyongyang elite to avoid sanctions from US government. They are very active in South Korea, but not only in South Korea. So looking at malware family, exfiltration methods, and everything, we're able to determine the APT group called the Crouching Ninja. Of course, that's a fake name, but it's a very nice name. I thought it would sound really nice, a Crouching Ninja. So based on what I said so far, what do you think the motivation was? Was that criminals, nation state, or hacktivists? Now that's a real test if you listen to my presentation or not. Anyone? Nation state. Of course, it was a nation state. Now this situation really happened, and we see various activities of APT groups in geolocations that you would not associate with one another. This year, in late April, early May, we had an attack in Poland from North Korean APT group on financial institution. But attribution showed that the same attack happened 2 weeks earlier in Mexico. So really, IP world doesn't have borders. It doesn't mean how close you are to that nation, to that state. So a little extra, and this is maybe less official part of my presentation. Don't quote me on that anywhere. Very often when we meet with especially government agencies or institutions in this part of Europe, in this part of the globe, and we ask, who's your biggest threat? Everybody says Russia. Why? Well, because they're close, they have military interest in, we know how they operate, power, disinformation, money, then military. They're very aggressive, right? And we say Russia, and people say Russia, which is, by the way, it's not fair. It should be Russian state-sponsored hackers. It's not like every Russian. But their projection is really negative. I mean, that's obvious. That's self-explanatory. And because of that they're closer, and their projection is so negative, we very often forget about China. Why? I had an interesting discussion. Do you have a Confucius Center in Budapest? Does anyone know? You probably do, because there are Chinese centers to promote Chinese culture and Chinese economic cooperation, this and that. They operate on a different level, so we very often don't see that. And the main difference between China and Russia is that China looks long-term, while Russia is looking on short-term gains. Why am I saying this? How do Chinese, and you can find it in official documents, how do Chinese use cyber capabilities? Well, there are a couple of major pillars. One of them is control internally 5 poisons within China, which is Falun Gong, which is the Tibet, which is the Muslim minority, democracy movements. Okay, then the second was ensure the stability of Chinese Communist Party. That's obvious. Military reasons, we all know that, we've heard about it. But also, very important part that we often don't talk about too much is support economic goals. Right? Why is it important? Has anyone heard of One Belt, One Road initiative? From Xi Jinping in 2013. If you have One Belt, One Road is coming back to the old Silk Road, right? So a connection through land and sea with Europe. Now in 2013, Chinese said, okay, it's a great idea. Let's have it work again. Now, One Belt, One Road is about China and 64 other countries. If you look at on the screen, Hungary is in it as well. It's within the Silk Road. Now, if you combine that fact that with information that Russia really wants to become a power through that, I think that's what we're looking at as major threat actors within the next 5, 10, 20 years. There was a survey in China within young people up to the age of 15. And they asked them, who would you like to be when you grow up? Now, when you ask our kids, my son wants to be a football player. On one day, on the second day, he wants to be a firefighter. We'll see. We probably will become one of these two, because he's very committed. But if you ask Chinese children, what do you want to become? 50% of Chinese boys say, I want to become a hacker. Do you know how many people is that? It's over 13 million hackers that will come to the market within the next 10 years. Now, good luck if you believe there will all be bounty hunters and white hackers. Maybe. Maybe so. And if you look at China's 9 strategic emerging industries, IT, high-end manufacturing, biotechnology, digital innovation, I think if you look at these 9, at least one of these has something to do with each and every one of you. I'm pretty sure. If not directly, then you cooperate with a company like that. And so what they're interested in, executive emails, what are your business processes, right? Because they want to copy them. Well, not Chinese people, but Chinese nation state-sponsored hackers. I have to be politically correct here. So anything that's on this list is of their interest because of that One Belt, One Road initiative. Their life was harder before the Trump administration because US government had a partnership with New Zealand, with Australia. It was called Pacific Partnership to kind of balance the power in Southeast Asia. It's gone. There's no Pacific Partnership anymore. China is there on their own. They just rule that part of the world, so they're getting stronger. I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation that we are monitoring on a constant basis a few hundred of APT groups, around 120 main APT groups. Just look how many of them are Chinese groups. Look at Russia, APT 28, APT 29. Probably most of you have heard of them because they were very active in this region, in Hungary, in countries around Hungary, stealing information. But just look how many are there from China. So that's my look into the crystal ball for the next future. And I think that without being able to react in an intelligent way, meaning without understanding the motives of people who attack you, you'll lose. Breaches are inevitable. If someone wants to break into your network and has enough time and resource, he'll do it. He'll be successful. It's just how quickly can you react from the breach to fixing that and improving your posture. 99 days or 106 days in Europe versus what should really be minutes. An intelligence-led security approach should really help you to prioritize, to assess the risk, to know what you have to do first, because you can't do everything at once. And I have 5 minutes and 40 seconds left, as I was told. That basically concludes my presentation. I hope there will be some questions, preferably not in Hungarian.